Well, the Denver Nuggets didn't hang a banner, but they are still a really great story. Just don't say that around Mike Malone.
We've always felt that we were good enough. No one else does. And we find it funny that the narrative is like, oh, the Nuggets are a cute team. What a good story. We've always had this internal belief that we're good enough to win a championship.
Actually, I completely agree. The Nuggets are more than a good story. They could have won a championship this season. They were one AD bucket away from tying the Lakers at a game apiece. They took game 3. It would have been 2-1. They were competitive against LA, and they would have been favored against Miami. In this video, we're looking at the Nuggets offseason and what it will take to go from a cute story to a championship story, including a huge trade for a third star. Hey, it's Casey. Welcome to AM Hoops. Hit subscribe and notification bells, even in the offseason, coming out with 5 videos per week. And today's offseason video is brought to you by Ryland Nostrand, who is a Patreon subscriber who requested this Nuggets offseason video. If you want to join Patreon, you get a shout out. You can request a video, and we just started Sunday live chat streams. So every Sunday morning for about an hour, we talk about what happened on the channel the week before, what's going on in the NBA or life in general. If you want to join Patreon, link is in the description. Nuggets offseason basics, no cap space, but the normal cap exceptions we always talk about. Draft number 22 overall that they got from Houston. Their needs: bench scoring, backup playmaker, rebounding, wing defense. Their relevant free agents, they have a lot. Jerami Grant will decline his player option. Mason Plumlee, Torrey Craig, and Paul Millsap. The first thing, the big thing, the third star. The Nuggets championship window is open. They've got talent. They've gone through adversity to win big games. Now it is time to win. The danger here is thinking because they're so young, average age 25, they've got plenty of time. That's what the Trailblazers thought. They never took that final step. That's what the Pelicans thought, and their star demanded a trade. The Nuggets need a third star around Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic to beat the Lakers or the Clippers or the Warriors and make the finals. Is that third star Michael Porter Jr.? Well, that depends. Who else could you get in a trade? I do believe that Porter Jr. is tradable, even though the Nuggets won't admit it. He is not up to par defensively, which Mike Malone hates, and there are some red flags personality-wise. Now, we'll go over those possible trade scenarios later, but they're all unlikely. I do think Michael Porter Jr. is here to stay. He played at an all-star level offensively in the bubble and was good in the playoffs too. If he can get better on the defensive end, he has got third star potential. Next up, the Bol question. Which is this? I still don't know for sure if we can count on Bol, which I know is crazy because I lost the Bol bet and don't have any hair. But on one hand, we had Shaq on TNT saying, out of any rookie, he would pick Bol to build around, which is a huge statement with Ja Morant and Zion Williamson out there. But on the other hand, Mike Malone played him 0 meaningful minutes in the postseason when rookies were balling out in the bubble. But if Bol and Michael Porter Jr. do live up to expectations, Denver has options. They wouldn't need to pay Mason Plumlee as a backup big to come back. They don't need Paul Millsap back either. They could spend that money elsewhere. So with that in mind, let's look at their own free agents. Tim Connelly and Calvin Booth have to decide who to keep among Jerami Grant, Mason Plumlee, Torrey Craig, and Paul Millsap. Denver's cap is complicated, but basically, they've got $29 million to spend, which means somebody's got to go. Here's how I would prioritize that money. First, re-sign Jerami Grant. He's in his prime. He had a career year shooting 39% from deep. That did fall off in the playoffs, but he still guards 1 through 5. He is versatile offensively, and he accepts his role. Grant's got a $9.3 million player option, which I expect him to decline. I think, though, the Nuggets should pay up, and it may need to be more, actually, because wing defenders who shoot 40% from deep are rare. Next up, sign Paul Millsap to a short $6 million per year deal. I would bring him back because I don't trust Michael Porter Jr. as the full-time starter. Millsap can be a capable veteran backup, the perfect gap year insurance plan while MPJ develops. Finally, Mason Plumlee also gets a short $6 million a year deal. He wasn't impressive this season, I know, especially in the playoffs, but he is a serviceable backup big. Again, I don't fully trust Bull yet. Letting Plumlee walk could hurt them bad, especially on the defensive end. Nikola Jokic gets in foul trouble a lot, so there is a need. That means the odd man out is Torrey Craig. I know, it's sad. He's a good defender, good dude. We saw him lock down Russell Westbrook recently, but his offensive limitations are just too much. I don't see a ton of minutes either for Craig when Gary Harris and Will Barton are healthy. I think he'll be on a different team next season. Next up is the Monte Morris extension. He can be extended for around $50 million. Denver should do it. Morris bounced back from last year and had a really good playoffs. He kept the Nuggets in high-leverage games when Jamal Murray rested, and he has never missed a game with injury in his 2 seasons as a Nugget. This, to me, is a no-brainer extension. Now the draft. The Nuggets have all their future first-round picks, and they have Houston's first from that 3-team deal this year. The future picks will be important in our trade scenarios later, but at 22, they should take power forward Jaden McDaniels. He's more of a combo forward, actually, like Jerami Grant. Even if Grant comes back, having McDaniels next to him would be a welcome addition. He can shoot and defend with big upside. To fill the other needs out there, let's take a look at free agent targets and trade scenarios. But first, let's start with free agency, and their first target on my list is Alec Burks. He averaged 15 points and 3 assists on good efficiency this year. Burks checks several boxes here for Denver, including bench scoring, outside shooting, and he's a decent playmaker. The best part, he's affordable. Denver could use the biannual exception or part of the mid-level exception if it takes a little more to get him. Next up, Jay Crowder. Crowder was hot and cold in the playoffs, but he always brought the defense. The Nuggets will have to go through the Clippers or the Lakers, maybe the Warriors, to win the West, so they need wing defenders. I think they'll have to use the entire mid-level exception for Crowder, so signing him and Alec Burks is unlikely, but it is possible. Finally, let's get to trades. The Nuggets need offense outside of Jokic and Murray. They need another playmaker. They need a reliable third star. To fill these, we will look at 2 realistic trades. And the first one is Will Barton, Keita Bates-Diop, and 2 first-round picks for Jrue Holiday. The Nuggets have to part with Will Barton here, and it hurts. He's their emotional leader and a quality young player, but those are the exact kind of guys New Orleans is looking for. They also have to give up 2 first-round picks in the deal, one of them from Houston, which is a low first. They talked about this deal earlier in the year, couldn't get it done, but I could see them revisiting it. Good news for Denver, Jrue Holiday lowered his trade value with his play this year, but he's still what they need. Jrue can score, play make, and take over games if Murray and Jokic have an off night. The blockbuster trade, though, would be Gary Harris, Michael Porter Jr., and those same 2 first-rounders for Bradley Beal. This fits both teams' timelines because the Wizards have a talented young roster. The Nuggets let Porter Jr. go for a win-now star. Beal would upgrade their scoring, he'd be better defensively on a contender than he was this season, and he would be that third guaranteed star to make Denver a favorite in the West. And I would do that last trade 10 out of 10 times. Yes, it would be tough to let Michael Porter Jr. go. He's talented. He was a win for that front office. But actually, his trade value may never be as high as it is right now coming out of the bubble. His potential is good, but Beal is a win-now star for a win-now team. Like Malone said, they are a cute story, but unlike the Blazers, the Nuggets need to finish the job. Support AM Hoops and click subscribe. Don't miss a daily NBA video.